दीपक प्यारे दंगल 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 सूरज तेरा चढ़ता ढलता गर्दिश में करते हैं तारे दंगल 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 दंगल.
Great morning dear friends. Bhupesh Anand this side. I'm a qualified chartered accountant, qualified company secretary, qualified cost accountant, and I did diploma IFRS from ACCA London. And now I'm in front of you ready for delivering the lecture number 3. We are doing prerequisite for CFA level 1 economics. It means for doing the main study sessions, you should be aware of some basic knowledge. And I am giving you a basic knowledge. You know, we have already seen in last 2 lectures what are the different types of markets, what is factor market, what is product market, what is capital market, and then we have seen what is the difference between value, price and cost. And in lecture number 2, I told you about demand. What is a demand? How demand function can be derived? What are the variables in relation to demand? And what is demand curve? And the basic inputs in relation to demand. So today's lecture number 3, my dear friend, I will be telling you with the help of basic real example something about supply. What is the meaning of a supply? How we relate supply function? What is supply curve? So today's lecture is on supply, and then once we are aware of what is supply and what is demand function, we will calculate equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, and at last what is the movement, movement along the demand curve and movement along the supply curve and the shift in demand curve and shift in supply. So this is all today's we have to do. So please take out your registers, my dear friend. You must have prepared your register. Please start preparing your notes. Class notes are very important. So don't sit idle in front of me. Just prepare the notes. Then only it will be beneficial for you. So great morning. Prerequisite, demand supply analysis. We are in introduction. Then we will be doing consumer demand. And then we will be doing demand and supply analysis in relation to firm. So let me start with the story. Let me start with the fun, lecture number 3. These are the contents. These are the learning outcomes which I will be doing with. Law of supply. What I mean by law of supply? What are the causes of shift in law in supply? And movements, This is third part. Firstly, we will be doing first, and then we will be doing with this calculation of equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, and then we will switching over to this causes of shift and movement along with the curves. The first point which I want to tell you now, what is the meaning of a supply? The producer supplies the goods, the consumer demands the goods, and we have seen the demand of a good or a product is dependent upon these variables. Similarly, supply of goods by a producer to the market, to the product market, depends upon different factors. For example, the first factor which is very important in case of supply is, if I take example of petrol, the supply of petrol will increase, if the price of petrol, now think from the point of view of producer, if the price of petrol increases, this producer of petrol will supply more quantity of petrol because the price of the petrol has been increased. Or if I take a real life example, price of a butter, or supply of a butter will increase if the price of butter will increase. You are getting a point? So there is a direct relationship in the quantity supplied and the price of that good. There is a direct relationship in the quantity supply of that product and the price of that product. You are getting a point? So please note down, supply of product X. I have written X primarily depends upon 2 things. Supply of product X primarily depends upon 2 things. First is the selling price, the price at which the producer can sell in the market, and second is the cost of production, that at which cost that producer is able to produce it. Lower the cost, high will be the profit. You're getting my point? So these are the two factors on the basis of which we will be deriving supply function, and cost of production is again divided into different parts. Technology, raw material, labor cost, because that all is cost of production. It relates to factor market, factors of production, So up to this point, we have seen that supply function is a function of two input variables. The first is the price of that product, selling price of that product, and second is the variable, that cost of production, components of cost of production. And the second point is, what is the relationship of supply with its variable? This is important. Second point, that what is the relationship behind that? I have just told you, when I say supply, it has a direct relationship with the selling price, and it has an indirect relationship with the cost of production. More the cost, less will is the supply by the producer. If the scarcities of labor is there, if raw material is not available, or if raw material is so costly, then it is a disincentive to the producer. So the quantity supplied will be low. But if I take otherwise, if there is a huge supply of raw material, huge availability of labor, then in that case, producer will be inclined or motivated to produce more. And similar is the case with selling price. If the selling price is being increasing in the market, this producer will be motivated in producing more. So just see relationship of quantity supplied and its variable. Quantity supplied has a positive relationship. Please prepare your class notes with selling price. That is, at higher price, increase producer at higher price. As the price increases, producer will be willing to sell high quantity. Producer will be willing to sell because he will be motivated in selling more quantity. So supposingly, if I take this example, this function of butter, supply function of a butter, then quantity supplied of a butter is equal to, in India we have Amul butter. The quantity supplied of butter is equal to, same as in case of demand function, the same function, on the same logics I am preparing for supply, but because the price of the product is directly related with supply, quantity supplied, so I have written minus 50 plus 5p. This is positive, this is positive. It means there is a positive relationship in price and the quantity supplied. If you remember, in demand function, this was negative. There is a negative relationship between price and the quantity demanded. It means price of that product and the quantity demanded of that product. There is a negative relationship in case of demand function. But now we are doing supply function. In supply function, as the price increases, the quantity supplied will increase. And there is a negative relationship with the cost of production, with the factor market items, that is wages cost. If there is an increase in wages, if there is an increase in raw material, if there is a scarcity of labor, in that case, the producer will give less supply. So there is a negative relationship. So my point is, I can directly give a quantity supplied supply function which is equal to price of X and price of cost of production. I will say the cost of production factors which are there, it is function of two items, two variables. One has a positive relationship, another has a negative relationship. So if I think that this is the function, and if I have given you the factor, the values of the factor, that this is the price per kg of milk, this is price per kg of this is price per kg of butter, this is the price per kg of butter, let it be 150, wage rate is 150, milk price is 42. Then I can feed these figures, I can feed these figures in this equation, and I can calculate how much will be the quantity supplied if this is the price of butter, if this is the price of milk, raw material, and if this is the price of wages. Just see, in case I want to calculate, I can calculate quantity supplied. Quantity supplied will be equal to 205 kgs of butter. What I did, I just feeded the figures in that supply function. Minus 50 plus 5 into 150 minus 0.5 into 150 minus 10 into 42. Just I have feeded the figures and I have calculated for you 205 kgs of butter. 205 kgs of butter. And if I want to, again the same concept. Supply function and supply curve are different. When I say supply curve, it means I will be doing inverse of supply function. If that supply function is inverted, because I want to take price of that commodity in y-axis and quantity supplied in x-axis. Actually, quantity supplied is a dependent factor and price of the product is an independent factor. That is a natural. But if I want to formulate it this way, if I want to take price on y-axis that is independent on y-axis, then again I have to invert, I have to invert that demand, that supply function. And if I invert that supply function, my quantity will be, my equation will be like this. Price of butter will be equal to 109. I have just fed it the figures and I have written price of butter is equal to 109 plus 0.2 qx by solving this equation. Now, there is a positive relationship. There is a positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. So let me start with a graphical presentation. Very simple. X-axis I have taken quantity supplied, and on y-axis I have taken the price of that product. More will be the price, more will be the quantity supplied, more will be the price, more will be the quantity supplied, more will be the price, more will be the quantity supplied, because there is a positive relationship between price of that product and the quantity supplied from that product. So if I see it from producer's point of view, so this is all in relation to supply. This is the law of supply. These are the variables in relation to supply. This is a demand supply function. This is supply curve, and this is a graphical presentation of supply curve. So let me start with a new concept, next concept of today's lecture. That is equilibrium price. So before coming to equilibrium price, just I want to show you something. Just see in the Google Baba, I have taken some figures for you. So this is supply function. Just to see in the x-axis, I have taken quantity supplied, and in y-axis I have taken price. So this is upward sloping, positive sloping. Demand function is negative sloping. This is upward sloping. Just see the other graphs. As the price increases, the quantity supplied will increase because the producer will be inclined to produce more. As the price increases, so that is shifting this. I will be discussing that after some time. The next concept which I want to share with you, that is named as equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. This is the demand function. This is a demand curve which is negatively sloped, and this is negatively sloped, and this is a supply curve which is positively sloped. Now, this supply curve and demand curve intersect each other at a point. That point is named as intersection point. If I draw a perpendicular from that point to x-axis and to y-axis, if I draw to y-axis, I can get a equilibrium price. That is, at that point, quantity demanded will be equal to quantity supplied. And if I draw a perpendicular to x-axis, I can calculate the quantity, equilibrium quantity. So this is the point where quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. That point is named as equilibrium. That point is named as equilibrium. You're getting a point? So next point which I want to tell you in prerequisite knowledge of level 1 CFA level 1 for economics is equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. How to calculate it and what is the meaning of that? As the name indicates, equilibrium, it is equal. So equilibrium price will be the price at which quantity demanded will be equal to quantity supplied. We have just seen in the graph. I have prepared a flowchart for you. I have prepared a handwritten slide. So my request to you will be, as I did for you, I have prepared the PPTs for you. I have prepared the handwritten slides for you, so that better things, you get a touch of classroom. So please prepare like this only. Please do some hard work, then only all concepts will be clear to you. So intersection of demand function, this is demand function which is negatively sloped, this is demand function, this is supply function, this is negative, this is positive. At a point where they intersect, that point, if I draw a perpendicular, I will be able to calculate equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So let's move to a new point, in mathematically how we can calculate, equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price. So assume, I have just assumed that demand function let be like this, and I have told you how to derive a demand function in the lecture number 2. Quantity demanded is equal to, it has a negative relationship with the price, positive relationship with the substitute, negative relation with the complementary. So I have just written quantity demanded is equal to 150 minus 2p. Let these be the factors. Let it be equation number 1. And let the supply function be, let it be, there are only two variables, minus 100 plus fp. The main point which you have to concern is not the amount which I have written, not the figures which I have written, not the numbers which I have written. You have to see the relationship of this price with demand and the relationship of this price with supply. Price has a positive relationship with supply function with the quantity supplied, and the price has a negative relationship with the quantity demanded. You're getting a point? So if I equate these two mathematically, then I can say equation 1 will be equal to equation 2, and if I say equation 1 will be equal to equation 2, then I can calculate the price, and that price will be $35.70. It means at $35.70, if the price of that quantity is $35.70, then there will be equilibrium. We will be achieving equilibrium. That is, quantity demanded will be just equal to quantity supplied. Okay, so now if we substitute the price, and in case we want to calculate the equilibrium quantity, so we can substitute this price, equilibrium price in the one of the equation, and I can calculate that how much should be the equilibrium quantity if the equilibrium price is 35.70. So let's move to the next concept. In today's lecture, I have told you there are three concepts, three learning outcomes which I will be discussing. The first is supply curve, the second is equilibrium price, and the third is movement in the demand curve, shift in the demand curve, movement in the supply curve, shift in the supply curve. I should be aware of what is the meaning of movement and what is the meaning of shift. So this fourth point, causes of movement along demand curve. When I say along demand curve, it means it is on the same demand curve. Either we are moving up or we are moving down. We are moving right or we are moving left, but we are on the same demand curve. Now, what are the reasons for movement? I have just told you what is the meaning of movement. Movement means change in demand in the same, but we are in the same demand curve. So A point, when we are on different points of the same demand curve. When we are on different points. For example, this is a demand curve. For example, this is a demand curve. And we are at different points. We are at different points. Let it be this point. We are at this point. Then we are at, supposing, let this point, this point, this point. Then I will say this is named as movement along the demand curve. When we are moving along the demand curve, it is movement. But when we are creating a new demand curve, for example, just see the difference between movement, and this is the original demand curve, this is D0. But when we move either right shift or we move in the left shift, this is named as shift in the demand curve. There is a difference in the movement and the demand and the shift. Now we are on the reasons why there is a movement in demand curve. What are the factors which affect the movement, and what are the factors which can change the demand quantity demanded. I have just told you in the last lecture number 2 that quantity demanded is a factor of price. It is a factor of, price of that product. It is a factor of income. It is a factor of price of substitute. It is a factor of price of complementary. I have just told you in the last lecture. Now, if there is a change in the price increase or decrease, and due to that the quantity demanded changes, I will see in the practical that this is the movement in the demand curve. But if there is a change in any of the variables other than price, I repeat, if there is a change in the variable other than price, then that change is named as shift. So just see the points which I have written for you. Please note down, my dear friends. It is very important that you should note down causes of movement along demand curve. Please prepare your class notes. I am again telling you, don't listen to me. Just please prepare it. A point. When we are on the different points of the same demand curve, these are the important words. When we are on the different points of the same demand curve, then it is named as movement along the demand curve. Now, what are the reasons for that? There can be only one reason. When there is a movement along with demand curve, when the price of that product increases, and we know that there is a negative relationship in quantity demanded and price increase. And when the price decreases, again there is a negative relationship between quantity demanded and price decrease. So the point is, the point is then we will move along with the demand curve, and that is named as movement in the demand curve. Just see, movement along demand curve is due to increase or decrease in the price of the product demanded. So if it is only due to price, then we will see that we are on the same demand curve just for practical purpose, so that I can give you a real touch. Suppose P0, that is original price, is $15, and suppose Q0, that is original quantity, is 30 units. Supposingly this is the original P0, I have taken 0 as original and 1 as new, and suppose P1 has increased to 20. Now from $15 my price has increased to 20. So as per demand function, I know that there is a negative relationship. My quantity demanded will come down. Just see. Then my quantity demanded will be 20 units. Just see in the graph I have prepared. This is Q0, this is P0. This is the original, this is the original, this is the original. But if there is an increase in the price from $15 to $20, my quantity demanded will decrease. It means I am on the same demand curve. I am moving on the same demand curve. It is named as movement along the demand curve. If I take an opposite case, supposedly there is a decrease in the price. From $15 original, the price was $15. Now my price now has been decreased to $10. Just see. Now if there is a decrease in the price, I know that quantity demanded will increase. So just see, the quantity demanded has increased from 30 to 40. So if I am on the same curve, I repeat, if I am on the same curve, I am moving on the same curve, either upward or downward, either right or left, either upward or downward, I will say it is named as movement, and it is only due to price. Just see, please prepare. Sir, I have prepared the handwritten slides, even PPTs for you, so that you can PowerPoint slides. I will be showing you, but please prepare the handwritten slides. If the movement is along with the demand curve, I will say it is movement. It is movement along with the demand curve. Now, what are the reasons for shift? Well, I have just told you what is the meaning of shift. When this is the original demand curve and I have shifted here, either right side or left hand side, it means there is a change in the quantity demanded due to other variables like income, like substitute prices, like complementary prices. So this is named as shift. So now we will see if there is a right shift from here to here, then whether my quantity will increase or decrease, the quantity demanded will increase. But if there is this is the original demand curve and my new curve has shift to left hand side, it means my quantity demanded will decrease. You getting a point? Similar is the case with supply. We will see for supply also. So firstly write down causes of shift. This is shift in demand. When there is a change in demand curve, all by itself, it is named as shift in demand curve. Okay. Okay. For example, here just see, I have prepared this is let this be original demand curve and let this be new demand curve. When there is a shift, when there is an increase in demand, when there is an increase in demand with the same price, there is an increase in demand. It means it is due to some other factors. It may be due to income, it may be due to price of substitute products, it may be due to price of complementary products. Now that is named as shift in demand curve. Now my demand curve can shift either right side or it can shift on the left hand side. That we have to take care of, because right hand side shift will tell me something other than that, and left hand side will tell me some other feeling, So just see, in the B point I have written shift in demand curve is due to change in, this is important, due to change in other variables of demand function. And we know what are the variables of demand function: incomes, price of substitute, price of complementary. So when income increases, when level of income increases or when level of income decreases, when price of another product increases or decreases, there will be shift in demand curve. Now shift in demand curve is change in demand. Just see, the right shift, I have mentioned it as a right shift in the right hand side, and left shift I have mentioned as a decrease in demand, it is in the left hand side. So if it means, if my demand curve shifts in the right hand side, it automatically means that there is an increase in demand. So you please prepare it. It will be better if you just prepare it. And if my demand curve moves left hand side, it means that my demand has decreased. So this is the relationship which is to be taken care of, highly testable in the examination. So just see, D0 to D1, I have prepared a slide. It means shift in the right, there is increase in demand. D0 to D2, this is D2, D0 to D2. D0 to D1 is right shift, increase in demand. D0 to D2 is left shift, decrease in demand. Okay, so I am coming to supply curve. Again, in supply curve, there can be a movement along with supply curve, or there can be a shift in the supply curve. The same concept as we discussed in demand, when there is a change in the price of that commodity, that there is a change in the price of that product, we will either move upward or we will move downward in that supply curve. That is named as movement along supply curve. But when there is a change in the cost of production, change in the technology, change in the cost, change in the raw material cost, change in the labor, then we will shift. Now again, we can have a right shift or a left hand shift. So just please prepare the graph firstly, then I will be explaining more. So this is S0 is original supply curve, and this is S1 is right shift, S2 is left shift. Now in this case, we are assuming that price is same, but due to cost of production factors, there is a change, there is a shift in this. So causes for shift: better production technology, or increase or decrease in the raw material cost, as the case may be, decrease or increase in the raw material cost. Now this last chart is most important. I will be giving you 5 stars to this seventh point, because this is a summary chart, that what is the meaning of shift in the right side of demand curve and in the left side of demand curve and in the right side of supply curve and the left shift of supply curve. So I have prepared a flowchart for you, a whole summary of that, 5 or 7 pages as per CFA curriculum. So if there is a shift in demand curve towards left, it means there is a decrease in the demand. If there is a shift in the demand curve towards right, it can be seen from the graph also, it means the demand has increased. So come in the supply curve. If there is a shift in supply curve towards left, quantity supply will decrease. Quantity supply will decrease. Just see, quantity supply will decrease. If I prepare this and if I prepare this, in this, quantity supply has been decreased from S1, from S0 to S2. So same point I have written here. And if supply curve has moved right, it means quantity supplied has increased. So just see, if anything is moving right, either supply or demand, my increase vector will be there. Quantity demanded will increase or quantity supplied will increase. And if we are on the left hand side, just see, if we are on the left hand side, decrease. So this can be related also. If we are on the left shift, then there will be a decrease either in quantity demanded or quantity supplied. So just see, I have taken some Google. I have taken the help of this Google Baba. This is shift. This is right shift, I will say. This is right shift, this is movement, this is right shift. So we should know what is the meaning of right shift and left shift. This is, just see that this is right shift, this is left shift. So accordingly we can easily find out whether it is right shift or left shift. Along with that, I have seen that shifts in supply curve. Just see shifts in supply curve. Again, right shift or left shift. Now what right shift will tell me or what left shift will tell me, that is important to be learned, or I will say the intention should be clear to you. Be happy, be jolly, Beecher.